Iran destroys buildings in Tel Aviv. Israel rises for revenge. It has been officially stated that Israel has suffered a level of destruction unprecedented in its history, with buildings being demolished. The Israeli government has also issued a strict warning to its citizens, urging them to refrain from sharing images of the destruction. However, various international media outlets have managed to gain access and are releasing videos. The fire that broke out in Israel has not yet been extinguished. Following this, Israel, enraged like a lion, has continued to launch missiles back at Iran. Politicians observing Israel's renewed missile launches have commented that this is a major indicator of how severe Iran's nighttime missile barrage was. It is also being reported that the United States may become directly involved in the conflict. If the US gets directly involved, it is said that countries like Russia may also have the opportunity to enter the war. The fear that a world war could be triggered has arisen following this escalation of the war between Iran and Israel. Iran has stated that it is still sending drones to Israel, but they added that Israel has been successfully shooting them down. Iran suffered significant damage yesterday when it was caught off guard, but today it is saying, "I am not sleeping." There has been no confirmation as to whether Israel's military strikes have been successful so far. It is being reported that Israel and Iran have entered a serious war. After Israel initiated its missile attack, Iran retaliated by striking Israel's capital. Following Iran's attack, Israel is again striking Iran with drones in an angry response. The next retaliatory strike is now expected from Iran's side. It is anticipated that Iran will inflict heavy damage on Israel tonight. This has become a major sign that the world is heading towards an unwanted war. The countries that have announced their support for Iran are China, Russia, and Turkey. Saudi Arabia is also strongly condemning Israel. Saudi Arabia has stated that it will care for Iranian citizens who travel to the country for the Hajj pilgrimage at its own expense until peace is restored, which is prompting new discussions between Saudi Arabia and Iran. These nations have historically often engaged in political dialogue to reach understandings. At this time, these countries have improved their diplomatic ties, and Saudi Arabia is focused on condemning Israel. Meanwhile, Israel has announced that the United States, France, and Germany are on its side. The United States, Germany, and France have said, "We always stand with the people and government of Israel." The tense night. The U.S. Ambassador to Israel, whom the text calls Michael Cabe, described yesterday's Iranian missile attack as extremely tense and worrying. The ambassador also wrote on his social media page, "I did not expect this to happen." It is recalled that the ambassador had said, "Let us pray for Israel," 30 minutes before Israel launched its attack on Iran. After the Iranian attack, he explicitly stated that last night was tense. As is known, Israel carried out what can be described as a devastating attack on Iran yesterday. It has been learned that 6 Iranian nuclear scientists and 3 generals were killed by the missile Israel fired. Israel also attacked Iranian military zones. Israel announced it had returned to its country after achieving a highly successful military objective. Hossein Salami, the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, was one of the senior commanders killed in the Israeli attack. Israel was heard saying he was a high-priority target. Israel was also heard stating, "This is the man who rained 300 drones on me." The commander of the Revolutionary Guard who rained 300 drones on Israel was killed in an Israeli reprisal. While Israel is in a state of great joy, Iran's grief has become overwhelming. The general, said to be responsible for the 300 drone rain on Israel, joined the Revolutionary Guard following the outbreak of the Iran-Iraq War in 1980. After Israel killed this man, who was highly sought after by the US and European countries, the US and France expressed their admiration. As this general, wanted by the West, rose through the military ranks, he managed to gain great fame in his country, Iran, for his strong rhetoric against the US and its Western allies. Due to his involvement in Iran's nuclear and military programs, the United Nations Security Council, the Americans, and the Europeans had imposed sanctions on him since 2000. He was the head of the Revolutionary Guard when Iran carried out its first direct attack on Israel involving 300 drones and missiles. It should not be forgotten that on Thursday, following the escalating tensions with Israel in recent days, Hossein stated that his country was prepared for any situation, event, and circumstance. He said this on Thursday and was killed on Thursday night. As Iran announced at the United Nations, it stated that Israel killed 78 Iranians in a missile attack. In addition, Iran reported that about 320 citizens were injured. Hours later, Iran took retaliatory action. In its action, it was learned that 9 buildings were completely destroyed, and an attack was also carried out on the Israeli Ministry of Defense office. Iran launched a missile at the Israeli Minister of Defense's office. Israeli officials stated that the Ministry of Defense building was damaged by a missile fired from Iran. However, the officials did not detail the extent of the damage. An order was given not to release any images showing this damage on social media, with the reasoning that it would give the enemy an opportunity to attack us. The Iron Dome, which Israel relies on, did not save the buildings. How could this have happened? The missile defense systems, called Iron Dome and Arrow, can be considered the backbones that enable Israel to protect itself. However, a Hamas official stated that Iran showed yesterday that these defense systems are not reliable. The Hamas official told Al Jazeera, "I am very proud of Iran's military strike. Iran has carried out a successful military strike against Israel." The Iranian military, in a statement, said that its drones penetrated into Tel Aviv without any hindrance and achieved their objectives. The Hamas official also stated that Israel has received what can be called severe punishment from Iran. Uzi Rubin, a missile engineer, is the founder of the Israeli Missile Defense Organization within the Israeli Ministry of Defense. He is now a senior researcher at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security. He told the BBC that he felt secure watching the Iron Dome and Israel's allies neutralizing the missiles and drones fired by Iran. The defense systems are flawless in neutralizing missiles. I felt great joy and immense satisfaction. The defenses thwart short-range missile attacks, and there is no other system like them, he had said. However, Israel did not achieve the intended result this time. About 90 buildings were destroyed by Iranian missiles. It is being reported that the death toll is rising. It has also been stated that a large amount of property has been destroyed. The U.S. has disclosed that it helped to shoot down the Iranian missiles fired at Israel. 2 U.S. officials confirmed that the U.S. military provided assistance in intercepting the Iranian missiles. It was reported that Iran fired approximately 150 ballistic missiles at Israel in its attack. Emergency workers were reportedly deployed to extinguish the fires that broke out, particularly in areas of Tel Aviv where Iranian missiles landed. It was also reported that Israel fired its Iron Dome anti-missile interceptors to counter the Iranian missiles. In a statement after the attack, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz was heard saying, "Iran has once again crossed a red line. The Iranian government will pay a price for this." The BBC report indicated that 2 U.S. officials confirmed the U.S. military's assistance in intercepting the Iranian missiles aimed at Israel. An Israeli media outlet stated, "Israel has never in its history experienced such a devastating destruction in Tel Aviv." This was said by their own Jewish media outlet. Israel has so far announced that more than 3 of its citizens have died in the Iranian missile attack. It was also reported that over 40 Israeli citizens suffered serious injuries. However, later information indicated that the number of injured citizens has reached 80. Iran has been heard saying, "I have carried out a successful military strike on Israel." Israel, for its part, is saying, "I will take severe retaliatory measures for the next 14 days. This statement from Israel has been taken as an indication that Iran has suffered heavy damage. As reported by Al Jazeera and various international media outlets, buildings in Israel's capital were seen collapsed and destroyed. Israeli cars were seen burning on the streets. The fire has still not been extinguished. It is being reported that this is the most devastating damage Iran has ever inflicted on Israel. The U.S. has also announced that it has come to Israel's aid. When Iran launched about 150 missiles last night, the US was busy helping Israel intercept them. It should not be forgotten that last year, when Iran launched a missile attack on Israel, the UK, France, and the US provided military assistance to save Israel. In this latest Iranian attack, however, while the US, a leader in military power, economy, and technology, assisted Israel, other Western countries have not yet announced any aid for Israel. After Iran announced that it had achieved a successful military objective, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu threatened that Iran should know there will be further attacks. In a speech where he distinguished the people from the regime, the Prime Minister stated that Israel is at war with Iran's leadership, not its people. Netanyahu added that now is the time for the Iranian people to make their voices heard, and he warned that the regime should expect something more severe. The Prime Minister stated that his additional goal is only to eliminate the threat of nuclear weapons. In connection with this attack, what did Russia and China say? Russia and China, who are said to be friends of Iran, have condemned Israel. They stated that Israel has violated Iran's sovereignty. In addition, Turkey has also condemned Israel. Putin has made his voice heard on the Israel-Iran war. He has called for Iran and Israel to resolve their differences through diplomatic means. It was said that President Vladimir Putin spoke by phone with his Iranian counterpart, Masoud Pezeshkian, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The president condemned Israel, which launched the first attack, calling its action untenable. He strongly urged Iran and Israel to resolve their differences through diplomacy. May there be peace for the whole world. We are finished. We wish for a time of peace.